so they can pay their people as much as they want. So let me ask you something about the original bank bailout deal. Say you hire a contractor to renovate your kitchen. Bear with me. Then you come home and the contractor says, I decided to redo your bathroom too. And oh yeah, I added a porch. And by the way, it's going to cost more, a lot more. You would tell the contractor to probably take a hike, if not a little more strongly. So why aren't we telling Washington to take a hike for using tax dollars, originally meant then for these bank bailouts, to things as far and nefarious as conking our homes? Well, contractor Ray Romano says that he'd be fired if he did what lawmakers are doing. Ray, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So you give a quote, an estimate. I ask you to do a job. Let's say
Right.
finish my basement.
Okay.
Break it down for me. What do you tell me?
Okay. First of all, you have a plan you might want to go with. You want to have some paneling put in, some flooring, some lighting. You and I will discuss it. We'll put it to a contract. We'll write the contract up. We'll decide on what's going to stay in the contract and what won't stay in the contract. When we write a contract up, we make sure that everybody understands what's going on in it. Line by line by line.
Spell it all out, what you're going to do.
Exactly. And say, Neil, you said, okay, I don't want to put the paneling on. Well, let's make a deduction on that. Let's just take it out of the contract.
Understood.
You have a revised contract, then we finally get down to what you're going to commit to. We write it all down, we follow it verbatim, exactly what you're going to have done, follow the contract, have a deadline, finish it up, make sure you're happy with it, and that's it.
So no surprises.
Hopefully there's not any surprises.
Okay. Have you ever had customers upset?
I've had upset with me?
Yeah.
I won't say upset, they're concerned.
Really?
Yeah.
They ever worked for Congress?
Some.
So, really? So now you know what's going on in Washington. They took a
Right.
contract, Ray, that said they were going to use money
Right.
given them by us to patch up some sick banks. And they gave, not line by line, because I think theirs was a half a page at the time,
Right.
to say, here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to rescue these banks. We're not going to give you a lot of the details, but it's going to be for banks. What would Ray Romano think of a contract like that?
Well, if they put it to the banks and they need help with the banks, then great. Go ahead and help them out. As long as the money stays with the bank, it doesn't go someplace else. Like
Now it's going someplace else.
well, if you're talking, you said kitchen and then they do a bath. If they're saying banks and then let's do sea lines, shores, or other projects.
So, Ray, I mean, what if they said to justify doing the bathroom, even though you didn't ask for it, that, well, the kitchen looks so beautiful, you don't want to leave the bathroom looking a mess?
Absolutely not. No way.
So when you've had an add-on as a contractor,
Change order.
change order, it's called a change order.
It's called a change order.
Could you hold that up? That's a change order. Congress, you might want to look into this form. And a change order tells you what? You have to write the details, you're adding a bathroom, or what?
Exactly.
And then the customers, the homeowners, have to sign off.
Sign it. Sign it. In fact, you make sure the money is accounted for, when you're going to pay it, how you're going to pay for it, and make sure it doesn't affect your other contract that you already signed. You've already signed the contract with me. You want something else? I'll give it to you, but you need to sign that change order, or I can't move forward.
In other words, you as a contractor are asking for my consent to do this additional
Absolutely.
job.
Absolutely.
So Congress is not asking for our consent.
Doesn't
What do you think
surprise
of that?
me. Doesn't surprise me.
How do you rate them as contractors?
Not good. I mean, it's awful. I don't want to. It's wrong. Stop doing it. Do the right thing. Follow your contract. Finish up your job. Don't be a deviant. Have honesty, integrity. Follow through. Communicate it, and you'll wind up in better shoes.
All right, but let's say they come back and say, well, we didn't realize we were going to get this money back from a job. So in the case of Bank of America, we had a TARP contract with them, right?
Right.
Gave them $45 billion.
Right.
And today, as you probably heard, right, they're giving it all back. So now we have this money back. Let's say you just got a big wad of money in your hand from me, and now you say, well, Neil, while I'm here, I'm going to do that bathroom. I'm going to do the patio.
Well, if you have that money to put into it, then make sure that everybody's aware of where the money's going to go.
But again, you need my write-off on that.
Sign the change order.
So you're looking at what Congress is doing. You have a tool belt here. Can we spread out a little, guys? I know
Sure.
we've got to go to the next guest. You got a tool belt here. You got a hat.
Yep.
By the way, he brought this for me, but I told him there's no really head big enough for this. And a T-shirt. Would you give any of this to anyone in Congress?
That's a tough question, Neil. No, it depends on the person.
Actually, a very simple question.
Well, I would say no. If that's what's happening, definitely not. What are they going to do? And maybe I'll get grilled later on, and maybe they'll have a lawsuit against me because I went against what should have been done in the contract, didn't get a change order. You start shuffling money around, you get in trouble.
You're a good man, Rand. We could benefit from some in Washington.
Well, keep it real, keep it honest, do it right, do what's right, and you'll be okay. People start playing around with money, and people play stupid. That's what drives me crazy. They have an epiphany. They have I call it it's like a sudden memory loss. It's a memory loss. Oh, I didn't know we weren't going to do that. Yes, you did, because it is in the contract.
It is in the contract.
Oh, well, can I have this? Well, no. You didn't. If you'd like to, sure, we'd like to help you.
And that's what
give it a change
that's
order.
what this is for.
Yeah.
Right,
and then you got
what is this form called again?
That's a change order.
That's a change order. Okay.
And
Don't
here,
show me any more forms.
Okay.
All right. You were very good. Love the tool belt. That wouldn't even make it around my wrist. But I thank you very much. You're a great guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, same here, my friend. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner today extending that bank bailout program, as we told you. Now, it was supposed to end this year, as Ray and I were discussing, but now it's going to end in October, and probably right before the midterm elections, and not just for banks. And Republican Senator Judd Gregg wondering if the Treasury Secretary just set the next TARP trap and whether he'd make a good contractor in the process. Senator, what do you make of that?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't hear the first part of your segment. I was just rushing in from the meeting. But the simple fact is that the TARP dollars don't exist that they allege they're going to spend. These monies have to be borrowed, and they're borrowed from our kids. And it's inappropriate to borrow them and claim that you're getting them out of TARP when it's like looking in a drawer and saying there's money in the drawer. Well, there is no money in the drawer. All there is in the drawer is the ability to send an IOU to our kids, which will mean we get more money borrowed to us from lent to us by China.
And you know what I loved about having Ray on, a contractor and obviously a very honest, decent guy, who's saying this is the honest and decent way to go about it, leaving aside whether the customer has the money for it, and you're quite right, Senator, we don't. Here's how you're going to amortize that bill. Here's how you're going to delineate that bill. And Washington isn't doing that. In fact, it's changing the work order as we speak.
Well, the big problem here in Washington is that we're putting on the books so much spending that we're basically running up a deficit and a debt which is going to be unsustainable and can't be paid back. And our kids are going to get a country where their standard of living is actually going to be less than our standard of living because of that. And it's just a simple fact. There's no way around it. These spending patterns are in place. They're going to occur. And unless we start getting responsible around here, it's going to happen to our children. Now, the TARP money,
but Senator, here's what's weird. But here's what's weird, Senator. Last year, a little bit more than a year ago, Democratic leaders were getting all hot and bothered when Treasury Secretary Paulson at the time came out and said, well, this original intention for the TARP money, when expanded a little bit beyond just shoring up financial firms, but I won't be buying back their debt or their stock. I'm going to expand the use, but it was for financial firms still. Now these same guys are coming back and saying, well, forget the financial firms. Now just spread it out to everybody. Yeah, I'm just saying, man, oh man, that's a bit hypocritical.
Oh, well, absolutely. And basically what you're doing is you're taking money, which, as you said, under the law said that it was either supposed to go to two things: stabilize the financial industry, which it did, and we're actually getting money back with interest. Taxpayers doing pretty well in a lot of these accounts. And when the money came back in, the law is very specific. I wrote it. Says the money has to go to reduce the debt. Why? Because we had to borrow the money to begin with. This money didn't exist. We had to borrow it. Then we lent it to these banks to stabilize them. Now they're paying it back with interest. Now it should go back to reducing the debt. It shouldn't be going around to, be walking around money for this Congress.
All right, Senator, it's weird, but the spending train has left that station, I guess. Senator, good seeing you.
Thank you, Neil.
Well, the real numbers we're watching on this show, Tigers growing.